going to be in Calabar with us for 3 days of Calabar prophetic invasion. Please find time to be with us. Find time to be with us. You see, the awesomeness of God is so profound. Profound to a point that even if you claim ignorance of the existence of that God, you claim ignorance of the availability of that God, and even if you claim ignorance of the presence of that God, you cannot truly claim ignorance of the works of that God. You may claim ignorance of his availability, of his existence, but deep down, philosophy will fail you. Deep down, science will fail you. Deep down, religion will fail you. Deep down, thinking and reasoning, what men will call rationality, will fail you. Because every day you wake up, you come face to face with the awesomeness of his existence by breath, by nature, by history. I may even say by miracles. That is why David will say that it's only a fool that will say there is no God. For him to be tagged a fool is because your eyes are seeing his awesomeness. Your ears are hearing his testimonies, and you claim he is not existent. You claim he is not available. Even if men choose to be of that school of thought, again, by the things our eyes see, Peter will say, that which our eyes have seen, that which our hands has handled of the word of truth. There and then you cannot surely say there is no God. However, inasmuch as this God exists in beauty, glory, honor, and splendor, this God truly needs nothing from man, as it were, or in quote, except the totality of worship. This God truly needs nothing from man, as it were, and in quote, except their heart of gratitude, their heart of thanksgiving, their heart of praise. That is why when you crescend into the highest height of heaven, you will discover that in the peak of heaven, what we find there is not prayer. In the peak of heaven, what we find there is not church. In the peak of heaven, what we find there is not destiny fulfillment. It's not white throne judgment. I may even say it will have nothing to do with a hell or paradise. What we find at the peak of heaven is the life and the nature of worship. That is why the 24 elders, who happen to belong to a class of existence or a class of creation that God has had before, what they do round the clock, what they do as it represents their being and creature, is that they cast their crown. These men have honor, or rather, let me put it this way: this being have honor, this being have glory, this being have splendor, this being have power. But in all of their possession, they cast their crown. They are not casting their crown in discussion. They cast their crowns. They're not casting their crown in answering prayers. They're not casting their crown in warfare. They're not casting their crown in prayers. They're not casting their crown in fulfillment of realities on earth. They are casting their crown in totality of worship. There and then I came to discover that if beings of such class, beings of such rank, beings of such making will render their crown. Crown speaks of authority and placement. Bow themselves 24/7 in worship of this deity who is ageless, changeless, timeless, seasonless, sizeless, depthless, and dieless. Then it means that men ought to sit down and come into a little scoop of what it means to worship or praise or give God thanks. If of such class, all they do is to cast their crown, then men ought to study what a life of worship, a life of praise, or a life of gratitude is all about. Can we go on a journey? Look at your neighbor, tell your neighbor we are going somewhere. And we are going together. Number one, necessity of worship is that worship brings a man to a place of total humility. Worship brings humanity to a standstill in the place of humility. May I remind you again that what pushed Satanus, as it were, out of his glory in Zion was the trademark of pride. So when men stand before the deity called Elohim and worship this deity, it brings them to a point of total humility. Cast it down. Put it down. I know you have PhD, but when you come around this arena, keep it aside. You are encountering a God who your PhD has nothing to do with his humility, with his authority. Cast it down. You came out from a Prado jeep and you are face to face with this deity. What your worship will do to you is that it will purge your pride and put a deposit of humility on you. Your worship brings you to the point of humility. Have you seen where a man is to approach a king whose time frame depends on the breath that he's not even seeing? And Maybe he wants to give a king a gift. The way he will present that gift to the king will be done in such a way that even if you are a chief or a wealthy man, as long as you step into the court of his majesty, before you present your gift, you must prostrate in humility first. Cast it down. Why those men remove their crown, 24 elders, and cast it down? It's a display of humility. A display of humility. The meaning of that is, when next you have the opportunity to stand before him, or you have the opportunity to worship him, remember that the actual necessity of your worship is to portray humility. 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 Isaiah was already a prophet, seeing for the nations, seeing for the kings. But like we find in chapter 6, he said, I also, I saw the Lord. And when he saw the Lord, he didn't rush to create content like we find today, to post online on Facebook. When he saw the Lord, he didn't rush to write a message, to preach and sound deep. When he saw the Lord, he confessed to himself, I am undone. What I have seen, compared to what I have been doing, of a truth, I am undone. Humility. And number 2, as I shut down, when you have the opportunity to worship this God, the next thing you will discover is how filthy humanity can be. Take a stroll to the mortuary. Take a stroll to the prison. Take a stroll to the hospital. When you come back, examine yourself. Examine the man who may have been a chieftaincy holder, and they call him Ezego 1, Ndubisi 5, and all that he claimed to have gathered in this world. He steps into the mortuary, lying down helpless, extremely hopeless and worthless. Then you stand before him who holds the breath you are struggling for. Then you will do a comparison of how to worship this God. Because in actual sense, you, His majesty, you are standing before him who dwells in the unapproachable light. You are standing before him who dwells in the midst of the cherubims. If at that height of glory he still needs your worship, then understand that your worship is not doing him a favor. Your worship is rather doing you a favor. So that we don't progress in error, may I submit by saying, Amona Kapian Devron Diasa, bow your heads. Shakuan Telu Fantiate Ivandia Shozo Valian Taylor Frondiasa. One prayer point, Father, purge me of showmanship. Rasen tu vavian talabrondiata. E juluvran divon de brandia coveletia. Jean de brondo via santete caponda fianta. Oh, vela chate, if a fiantelo frandia santo, e vetenda bronda cacantianta, e juvelate, e sototo, iraquante la quantela, iracacande brondisa sofa, e ratatande brandia satata, iraquante jocatande, e fovadlisa santa palati, e valia satataila, e jacque, iruatante la fronta para e ruatante la cante shakata e zaso zesa e luasata e luasatatela e jante la santela.
Beyond everything and anything that we're here for, I want to believe that we really came to worship. I didn't ask you to stop praying, please. I really want to believe that we came with a heart filled with gratitude to worship God. Father, we're grateful. You are God, and beside you there is no one else. We come here today acknowledging your greatness, acknowledging that you are our Father, and that you are a good Father. That you are the holder of my life, the owner of my life. That every day of my life I will live it for you. I will live my life in gratitude. My life will be an expression of a heart that is grateful. Wherever you are, can you just be on your feet if it's not a border? Whenever I pray, Lord, you hear me. Whenever I call, you are there. God, I'm not alone, these I know. So what can I give to you, Lord? By the song of praise, organ adore, do, 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 organ adore, yeah, organ adore, organ adore, do, do, do. Organ adore, yeah. Organ adore, organ adore, organ adore, organ adore, organ adore, organ adore, yeah. Whenever I pray, Lord, you hear me. Yeah, Whenever I call, you are there for me. Yeah. I'm not alone.